Breaking. I just spoke with President Trump on the phone from Las Vegas, and I asked him about the stream of Truth Social posts. I got right to the point. I asked the president if Iran agreed to stop enriching uranium. This reporter from News Nation writes, yes, he told me. He says he followed up with, they agreed to stop enriching uranium. The president responding, they agreed to everything.
Let that sink in for a second. They agreed to everything. That's the president of the United States on the phone from Las Vegas telling a reporter that Iran has agreed to stop enriching uranium. That Iran has surrendered one of the most powerful leverage points in the entire Middle East standoff. That it's done. Over. Finished. Except it isn't. And the people watching this unfold in real time, the national security reporters, the foreign policy experts, the White House correspondents, they had one immediate, unified reaction. Where is the Iranian confirmation? Because here's what Trump did this morning. He fired off a wave of Truth Social posts. He got on a phone call. He made sweeping, enormous claims about one of the most complex geopolitical negotiations on the planet, and he did it before a single verified statement from Iran backed any of it up. The Strait of Hormuz is open, Iran says, conditionally, as long as Lebanon's ceasefire holds. The naval blockade is still in effect. Trump says yes. No money changes hands? Trump says that too, even though Iran has been demanding frozen assets returned for years. Israel won't bomb Lebanon anymore? Trump declared that as well, while the Israeli defense minister was simultaneously saying things are not yet completed. And now Iran agreed to stop enriching uranium entirely? Agreed to everything? There is no Iranian statement that says that. None. This is where it gets serious. Because we are not talking about a political exaggeration on domestic policy. We are talking about claims about a nuclear program, a military ceasefire, and a regional conflict that has Europe running out of jet fuel in 6 weeks. The stakes could not be higher. And watch what happened when the analysts pushed back.
Iran.
So there's a lot here, and in general, this is good news. The ceasefire in Lebanon is good news, and if the strait is reopening, that's great news. We've actually put together a graphic because the president, to help viewers, had said so many things this morning. So I just want to read through each of these points on what he's saying. So first, at the top of your screen, Iran and Trump claim the Strait of Hormuz is open to traffic. The one cautionary note on that announcement is that the Iranian foreign minister said in line with the ceasefire in Lebanon. That is a signal that Iran will keep the Strait of Hormuz open as long as there is a ceasefire in Lebanon. This is one of their key conditions, so the president might have been exaggerating a bit here. He confirms the naval blockade will remain in effect for Iran. The U.S. will do that. That's a way to keep pressure on the Iranians. Claims the U.S. will get nuclear dust and that no money will be exchanged hands for it. That's in response to a news report from Axios, which said that the U.S. might be giving up some of these Iranian assets that are frozen abroad that Iran's been asking for years. President Obama gave them back some of that money. Trump is denying that, but I think the Iranians will demand that money. This is Iranian money that was frozen years ago, and they claim they want it back. And then lastly, says Israel will not bomb Lebanon anymore. The issue there, as we just saw, the statement from the Israeli defense minister saying things are not yet completed. He attacked NATO allies for not helping open the Strait of Hormuz. I think it would be good if he would allow them to help. The more Navy ships, NATO or U.S., that can accompany tankers, the more they will leave. They want to be secure when they leave the Strait of Hormuz. There's still reports of mines there. Iran, with the assistance of the U.S., has removed or will remove all mines. I hope that will happen. We have no confirmation from the Iranians on that side. And then lastly, claims Iran will never close the Strait of Hormuz again. As I said at the beginning, Iran has not said that. They have said as long as the ceasefire continues in Lebanon, the strait will remain open.
If these are all true, these are major deals, but we don't know for sure what the true status is and what the official line is.
The president might have been exaggerating a bit here on camera from a senior national security reporter live. That sentence right there, careful, measured, professional, is actually one of the most damning things you can say in this context, because what David Rhodey is describing is a pattern, not a one-off mistake, not a misquote or a misread, a pattern. Trump claimed the strait would never close again. Iran didn't say that. Trump claimed Iran agreed to stop enriching uranium. Iran hasn't confirmed that. Trump claimed no money would change hands. The Iranians have been demanding that money for years. Money that is, by the way, legally their money, frozen during past conflicts. And then there's Peter Baker, the New York Times chief White House correspondent, who cuts right to the political reality underneath all of this. Trump needs this to be a victory. He is desperate to get this war behind him. His Republican allies need a clean exit. The markets need to recover. The oil price needs to drop. And so Trump is doing what Trump does. He is declaring the outcome he wants and hoping that the act of declaring it makes it real. The problem is, reality doesn't work that way. Not in Iran. Not with uranium. Not with a regime that has spent decades resisting exactly this kind of pressure. Meanwhile, look at what's actually happening on the ground. Europe is in genuine crisis. The International Energy Agency said Europe could run out of fuel in 6 weeks. 75% of Europe's jet fuel comes from the Middle East. France and the UK just announced a multinational force to ensure freedom of navigation in the strait, which, by the way, Trump immediately dismissed as a paper tiger, even though he'd been attacking NATO for not helping sooner. So let's call this what it is. There is progress here. The ceasefire in Lebanon is real. The strait appears to be reopening conditionally. These are not nothing. Analysts said so on air. But progress is not the same as a completed deal. An announcement is not the same as a confirmed agreement. And a phone call from Las Vegas is not the same as a verified diplomatic breakthrough. The framework of a deal might be forming, but Trump is already selling the trophy before the game is over. Here is what we know for certain. Trump made a series of sweeping claims this morning. The strait is permanently open. Iran agreed to stop enriching uranium. No money will change hands. Israel won't bomb Lebanon. Iran agreed to everything. Here is what analysts confirmed is actually verified. The strait appears to be conditionally reopening based on Iran's own stated condition that Lebanon's ceasefire holds. That's it. Everything else is Trump's version of events, and not a single expert on that MSNBC panel could point to an Iranian statement that backed up his biggest claims. Now, could the deal be real? Could this be genuine progress? Absolutely. Nobody is saying this is fabricated from scratch, but there is a massive difference between an ongoing negotiation and a completed, confirmed, historic breakthrough. And right now, what Trump is selling the public, what he is putting into the news cycle, is the completed version, the victory lap version of something that is, at best, still being worked out. That matters. Because if this falls apart, if Iran says we never agreed to stop enriching uranium, if the strait closes again, if Lebanon erupts, millions of people will have believed it was done because the president told them so. That's not a technicality. That's a dangerous pattern with very real consequences. If you made it this far, you already know how this game works. The announcement comes first. The facts come later. Sometimes the facts never catch up to the headline. Hit subscribe if you want the analysis they don't put in the Chiron. Drop a comment. Do you think Trump's Iran claims hold up, or is this another victory lap on a race that hasn't finished? And share this with someone who needs to see what the experts actually said.